Tornadoes. What are they? How do they form? And how does a fire tornado work? Let's talk about that. Hey guys, and welcome back to Geo Amplified. So in this video we are going to be looking at tornadoes and fire tornadoes. So first, before we even move on to the fire tornado, let's look at what tornadoes are and how they form. Tornado is just a circular column of rotating wind that will suck up anything and distribute it outwards, right? So tornadoes form, the most common way is if I have a massive thunderstorm, for example, huge clouds above, and all of these clouds, the wind speed up in the clouds is about, let's say, 25 kilometers per hour, and on the surface the wind speed is, let's say, 5 kilometers per hour. So tornadoes form when there are two different altitudes going at two different speeds, right? So let's say with the 25 kilometers and the 5, that little inner gap here, it creates what we call a wind shear. So now this is a tunnel effect or a wave effect when the wind is now spinning. Because think about if the wind is going faster like this, it's dragging on the wind that's going slower and it starts to circulate it, right? So high up in the sky, there's horizontal tunnels of wind that is just rotating as it's moving along. It's just rotating, right? Those are the wind shears. Now, for example, if you have an updraft, okay, uplifting wind coming from the Earth's surface going up, right? So as this air goes up, it hits the wind shear, and the wind shear gets caught in this updraft, and the wind shear, instead of going horizontal, it starts to turn a bit vertical, right? So instead of it going like this, it starts to go like that, and it starts kind of aiming downwards, right? We call that a wind funnel, right? Because it's kind of like a funnel. It's big clouds and it starts to go to a point, right? So now that wind funnel can become nothing. It doesn't have to become a tornado. It can just be like that, and then it can go back into the wind shear. It doesn't have to become a tornado. But like I said, this is a thunderstorm, and normally there's rain or there's wind or something pulling down as well. So now when we have the wind funnel, okay, and we have, let's say, rain, for example, hitting down on this wind funnel, it actually pushes the wind funnel down further and further and further until it hits the Earth's surface. As soon as it touches the Earth's surface, it becomes a tornado, right? It is a wind funnel up until the point it touches the Earth's surface. If it doesn't touch the Earth's surface, it is not a tornado. Okay, so that's now how tornadoes form. So now we're going to look at fire tornadoes, right? There's three ways that fire tornadoes can work. One is if I have a tornado that goes over a massive flame and it starts to suck the flame and funnel it upwards, right? That is the first fire tornado. And it's not the most common, but it does happen because normally flames aren't that big. So as soon as the tornado goes over, it literally just extinguishes that fire. But now, the second one, right? It's the most common. This is now if I have winds coming over a mountain and going through trees, for example. But now as it goes through trees, it is moving at different ways like this. As soon as it hits a fire, right, it will start going around the fire. And if I have wind coming from another direction, they'll start to circulate, okay? Think about if you pour water into a container from both ends. As it hits, it starts to circulate in the middle. Now that is also how a fire tornado. So you have your fire in the middle, and now you have winds coming from both directions, and they hit and they start to circulate and going up, and that creates a fire tornado. Now the third one. The third one is not very common, but it does happen when there are massive fires. When the fire is huge and hot enough. So above a fire, obviously we know hot air rises. Okay, so above a fire, if I had to put a balloon or something above a fire, it will start to go up. So if the fire is hot enough, a lot of air is going up. And now what happens when a lot of air goes up? Air has to come into the sides to fill that gap where that air was, right? So now same thing, you've got this massive rising of hot air, and then you've got cooler air that will come through. Obviously now it will come from all directions. And what happens when air goes in from two directions into the middle, it will start to rotate. So as we have the hot air rising, the flame automatically wants to go up. And when we have that air coming and circulating, it will create a sort of vortex, right? And it will create a fire tornado. So let's get into an experiment where I will show you how to make a fire tornado. Alright guys, so we're now going to be looking at how to create a fire tornado. Right, so the first thing you're going to need a Lazy Susan. You can see I've just got this little plastic one that just spins. That's all you need. You just need that spin. You're then going to need a mesh bin. You can see I've burnt this one a few times actually. Metal preferable. If you have plastic, well, unfortunately it's going to be a one-time use. Mesh bin preferably, because as you're going to spin it, it's going to allow certain air particles in that will create a spiral inside here, and that is what we want. Okay, you're going to need preferably ceramic, right? You can see I'm holding it with pliers because it is still very, very, very hot from doing the experiment. Right, you can see I've even burnt the inside. Right, so you're going to preferably need ceramic. That's hot. Oh, okay. Right, something to hold it with. Then you're going to need lighter fluid. Right, please be careful with this. It is extremely, extremely, extremely flammable. Right, that's the point of it. Then we're going to obviously need a lighter. Right. Safety goggles, of course, because else you're going to burn your eyebrows. If you burn your eyebrows, well, sport the new look. Okay, and then we've got a lid, preferably metal, something just to douse the fire. You can see with mine, I stick it in and it works perfectly. Okay, so you can see I've used it as well. Metal is best. If you use glass, for example, it will still work, but it might just shatter the glass, and that's not always a good idea. Then, as always, when dealing with fire, please have a fire extinguisher with you at all times. This is vital. Okay? You can see I'm inside. Reason why is because I had an external wind and it kind of started to twist my tornado a bit and hit it against the bin, and it didn't look so great. So we're going to do it inside, right? This is important. Please make sure it hasn't expired and it is still good. Also check the bars here. If it is between the green lines, it is still good. If it's between the red, do not use it. It will not work. Right, so let's get into this. First things first. Reason why I'm putting the lid like this. Okay, it's very loud. Reason why I'm putting the lid like that is because this is still very warm. This is a plastic table. It's not going to work out so well. Okay. Then, you're now going to move that off to the side. You're now going to add in your lighter fluid. You use a knife or a coin or something to just pop that little nozzle up. Right. Now we're going to put our lighter fluid in. I'm going to put quite a bit so it can make a very nice big flame. Once you have done that, close it, pack it away, put it off to the side, away from the fire. The less lighter fluid that's pretty much around the fire, the better, because that little thing, if it catches on fire, it will turn into essentially a little bomb. Once you've got a bomb, say a very, very quick prayer. That's all I can say. Right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this inside here. Right, so now that we've got it inside, we've now got our safety goggles. We're going to put them on because I prefer not to burn my eyebrows. Okay, and then we're going to light it. Woo, big fire. Okay, so like a campfire. Nah, right. So now I'm following the second reason why fire tornadoes go. First one being a tornado comes over, catches the flame, goes up. The third one being a flame big enough that it sucks its own air and creates its own fire tornado within the flame. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make a massive fire because I am inside. Right? So I'm going to use the second one where I'm channeling my own air. So I'm channeling it in different directions to create its own little vortex. Right, you can see I'm just kind of hinting at it there. Right, so once we start turning it, have a look in the middle and you will start to see the fire tornado. Wow, okay, that got very big very quickly. But there we go. There's our fire tornado. You can see as I'm spinning it, right, it's creating a little vortex in the middle there, and it's spiraling upwards. It's really, really, really cool, and it's really, really, really hot. Right, so you can see now when the flame is like this, it's sucking air down, it's sucking air across, it's essentially sucking air from anywhere as this hot air rises. You can feel it's quite warm here, right? But as soon as you start to spin it, you are channeling air in through here, which means it allows all of the hot air to go up. It's not two-way traffic, it's one-way up. So we spin it, and there we go. Look at that. That is so cool. Okay, we spin it the other way. Right, you can see even if I spin it nice and slowly, it still creates that spiral. If you start spinning it faster, right, creates a very thin flame. And that is really, really cool. Right, so now that we've doused it, that is how you create a fire tornado. Really, really cool, really, really dangerous. But it is such an amazing thing to see, even with the naked eye right from in the side. You can see that spiral going up. Now remember, this is extremely hot. So if you do want to take it out, you will use your pliers, right? And you will then put it onto a metal lid or something, anything, but I'm just going to leave it right here and let it cool on its own. Remember, ask an adult for help when doing this, because it is very, very dangerous. Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed that video. Making the fire tornado was so cool. I felt like I burned my face off a few times. It got very close. It was such a hot flame, and it was so cool to really just see it from the side. You can watch that spiral go up. It really is such a cool experiment to do. Very easy, but just make sure that an adult is with you for safety reasons. Just as it is honestly a really, really hot flame. Okay, burned my fingers a few times touching that ceramic and even the bin as I'm turning it. So just make sure that you are very careful when doing so. If you really like this video, please leave a like and a comment. Comment on any experiment like this, for example, that you would like me to do, and I will get right onto that. But for now, cheers guys. See you next time on Shear Amplified.